So that time of year when you get out and around, and by the way, when you say get out, do you have to put around after that? I think I generally do. Out and about, out and around. When you get out there and you start mingling, and like I said, we've got a big Christmas party coming this Thursday night. Got another one on Saturday. I don't know why we ended up with so many Christmas parties this year. Didn't ever really have that many. But the thing is, you're going to run into people. And even in everyday life, you run into people and you maybe talk to a new acquaintance, a new client, a new customer, a new friend, sometimes a family member. They're dealing with chronic pain, maybe even a life-threatening illness. How do you speak? How do you not say the wrong thing? Joining us now is Dr. John Braccio from Regional Psychological Services East Lansing. Doc, it's great to have you on our regular Tuesday visit. How you doing?
Well, listen, good to talking to you, and I'm glad you're feeling better than you did a week ago, so that's a positive.
Yeah.
Well, let me start here with chronic pain is a really horrible thing if a person has it. I mean, there may not be huge numbers, but the numbers are large, okay? We're talking about people that just always have pain. It can be in their back, it can be in their legs, it can be wherever it might be, but it's really ongoing. And when this happens, it's going to cause a person over time depression, insomnia, anxiety, stress, anger, even substance alcohol abuse, in extreme cases, even hopelessness and suicide. Now, when this happens, it's, most of us, when we hurt our foot, we hurt our leg, we hurt something, we know it's going to go away. But if you have it all the time, it just really wears on you. There are people that have spinal cord stimulators in terms of trying to reduce pain, different types of medications, different types of just activities people do. So if you're one of these people, okay, and when we interact with them, it's really difficult all the way around because these persons can feel isolated because people really don't know how to interact with them. I mean, how do you really relate with someone who's always in pain? And unfortunately, they can also wear you out because when you ask how they are, normally when you ask someone how they are, we usually expect they may say, well, I'm struggling a little bit today, I'm having a hard time, or they're already in a good mood or whatever. We don't expect them to say, well, for the last 2 years, I just have this level 3 to level 10 pain every day all the time. Now, so I think if we interact with these persons, when we see them, they can be loved persons, they can be people we really care for. We just have to realize how horrible the situation is. So what are things to do? How do you interact with somebody who really is in chronic pain, okay, and all the time are chronically ill with situation? Well, I think you want to be open, you want to be honest, you want to just feel free to talk. You don't want to just be, backing off because these persons often feel isolated from people. And you want to listen, just how does this condition, how does it impact them? Like if they're not able to walk much, if they can't lift much, if they have to use a walker, whatever it might be, okay? You want to be tolerant. If you talk to a person who has an uncharacteristic negative and even an angry mood, just take into account what this person is really going through. So you really do want to be sensitive. And you want to make sure the meeting is about you. It's not about you, but about them and their feelings. You don't want to be going in and, saying, well, if you think you've got it bad, I've got a bad day today too. Okay. So, well, that really isn't helpful. And you really want to let them know that you care and you will be helpful if there is, a way that you can do something for them. You just want to generally let them know. And then don't compare them, with someone else. You want to say, well, Chucky had this too, but it went away. I'm sure it's going to happen to you. Well, this person isn't Chucky or Mary that you're talking to. And then another thing, too, that we've talked about this before, about using active listening, Mike. And this is where you really try to find out how the person's feeling, just with, just like, how do you feel? And, it must be difficult. Call it what you will, but you kind of keep it going so they can really get their really, their feelings out, and not in a negative ways, but that they feel comfortable. And then another good thing to do if you're going to be around with someone with chronic pain, and as people are getting older, this doesn't happen just with older persons, but there are going to be more and more people in a lot of pain due to back problems, due to leg problems, sciatic nerve, call it what you will. This is part of the human condition, if you will. And you really want to start reading up on the effects of chronic pain. What does it do to the person psychologically and physically? And just be a helpful force, somebody who's going to be useful and helpful and the good person, if you will, in terms of interacting with them. So this is something today, just something a lot of people don't think about. And be aware there are people isolated, not always older persons, just persons that don't do things, don't go places, can't play golf, can't be walking, can't be doing things due to physical chronic pain that they have, or even it can be an illness too that's kind of really slowing them down. So just being the good Samaritan, the good person, being helpful, being understanding, these are things that we can do to help that person. And this also helps us by being a good citizen, good human being, good Christian, good whatever it might be, just helping people out. So that's kind of the message that I would give persons today.
And even now, this is dealing with chronic pain, although you mentioned it brings on anxieties and depression, and that it can be physical chronic pain. But I think it seems to me these principles would even affect someone without physical chronic pain, but yet they have anxiety, which I know is a thing because a friend of mine just revealed she's been dealing with chronic anxiety for years and years and years. And granted, up until recently, I didn't know her all that well. But now she's almost debilitated just because she can't go outside the house. She doesn't, not physically. There's something inside emotionally, mentally. I don't know. That's a thing, I guess.
Well, that's agoraphobia, actually. When a person, so it's a phobia in that case, which creates a lot of anxiety when people are fearful to do things. Quite different from what we're talking about today, but that is a very difficult situation too, because there are people that can't drive on expressways. There's people that are afraid to go places. They won't be around crowds. Then that can be very debilitating too, and that also will bring on a lot of depression. But the persons we're talking about today, that this does relate more to a physical condition. Like it's more something that really, and that's another very good topic, another good area to talk about in terms of agoraphobia. But as far as these are persons that really have the chronic pain, a typical example would be someone who they're having bulging discs in their back. They have the sciatic nerve. They have this pain. And it's, you can ask a person, and we do a lot of evaluations in this area for persons that get spinal cord stimulators as an example. I do hypnosis and relaxation to try to help persons with this type of situation. But they're persons that just have a lot of pain, and it's a grinding pain. And often it's not something that's necessarily going to go away. You can have an operation, which can be helpful for some persons, but they're persons that are just in pain. So they have to learn to adapt to it, and that's a very hard thing to adapt to, and that can lead to a lot of anxiety because you are worrying about what's going to happen in the future. And then anxiety often can lead to depression, which is, kind of a sadness, kind of seeing a negativity for the future. So this is one of those things that it's very difficult. And often these people don't go places. They don't do the things they used to do. They don't see a lot of people. And they often wear out everybody around them, too, because if you're always in pain, you're generally not, the friendliest person or the best person to be around, because often it's kind of just a survival kind of a thing. So if you're with people in constant pain, just be tuned in to the difficulties that is. You don't want to just treat them with kid gloves and not be honest with them. But on the other hand, you want to give them a little flack, give them just a little edge, if you will. You're willing to recognize their situation. Little slack, I guess is the word I'm thinking of. And just be
compassionate,
helpful.
I would think.
Well, yes, I think that's it. You want to be compassionate. You want to be caring. And you don't want to just stay away from them, because a lot of times persons will tell me, they'll say, people really don't come around. And they'll even say sometimes I don't always want to see people because people really don't understand. So if you do have a family member or someone you care for or someone you interact with, just be tuned in, be helpful, be sensitive, and just recognize that that could eventually happen to you. In fact, a lot of times you can see we're all temporarily able-bodied because eventually something's going to happen to us. So we just want to be helpful to those we interact with every day. Just really being helpful and recognize what some people are really going through, how difficult it can be.
Dr. John Braccio from Regional Psychological Services. Do you know next week when we talk, we're going to be looking right at Christmas. Can we do a Christmas thing next week? That'd be fun.
Well, that's what we will do, my friend. We will talk about it. That's a great holiday and a great time, and just exciting times for most people anyway. So we'll be talking, my friend.
Fantastic. Dr. John Braccio, Regional Psychological Services, East Lansing. Again, Doc, it's always a pleasure. Have a great day.
Same to you, Mike. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. 1320 WILS.